Good morning. Gosh dang it. Welcome back to the farm. We put the stop in on that side over there because that wing settled on me last year, and now this one's sitting on the ground. That's frustrating. Anyway, boys are here. No school again today. It's like 6 days in a row, Brayson. What's up?
Rylan's watching something he's not supposed to.
Rylan's watching something he's not supposed to. That's what happens on the computer in the office. So we're
We're
going to deal with that. But we're going to work on our planter here today a little bit. Anyway, the wind and the snow here, we've had some really bad drifting roads. The north-south roads are in pretty bad shape, so they canceled school again today, which is, they haven't had school since Wednesday last week. It's all right. I gotta get my stool over here so we can work on our planter. All right, so let's go over some of our plans for the planter here this year. So yesterday's video, you saw me looking at monitoring systems. Essentially, I want to replace this bank of float gauges here. So what happens here is you got this little red ball in there, and as liquid flows in the tube from the bottom, it pushes that ball up, and this tube is tapered, so it gets wider and wider, and eventually it kind of levels out and they just float in there. Then it comes out the top and goes back to the rows. And you can kind of compare the level of the ball across all of them, and if one's way high, you're getting too much flow. If it's down at the bottom, you're not getting any flow, and that's just kind of a good visual indicator. The problem is, one, you can see these are already getting a little cloudy and stuff. Two, the product that we are running through here, like what's in there now is antifreeze, RV antifreeze, so it doesn't freeze and break stuff. But the fertilizer that we run through them is very dark, and you can't actually see the ball floating in there. You can see whether there's product in it or not, but not whether it's flowing. So I want to put an electronic monitoring system on there. So we are going to do that and eliminate all of this. Now, we have a bit of a unique setup here, or a different setup, I guess. I won't say it's unique, but on most planters, they have a system where you're going to have a main fertilizer line come out, and you'll have a distribution manifold or a block or something, or even the bottom of this will be the manifold where you'll have one input, and then it'll go up through all of the float gauges and stuff to separate the flow from the pump feed to each individual row. That's not how ours is set up. We have this wet boom here, and so we actually have two on this planter because of the in-furrow versus the 2x2x2 fertilizer stuff, but it's a little easier to see from the back here. So this bottom one, this is our in-furrow fertilizer stuff that's controlled by these John Deere exact rate modules. We're not messing with that. This top one is the wet boom for the 2x2x2 fertilizer. And so essentially what happens here is we have these nozzle bodies. There's one here, there's one here, and they're back that way. There's 12 nozzle bodies across the planter. And you say 12, I thought it was a 24-row planter. Well, it is, but see, look what happens here. On these nozzle bodies, which there are 5 ways, just basically exactly what you would have on a sprayer. We've got a port coming off the bottom with this tube, and then it's got a Y, and it splits. And then it goes from that split into these KZ valves. So these are an actual control valve that shuts the flow on and off. And then we go from there into these hoses, which go all the way back to the center of the wing through our float gauges, and then they come all the way back, this hose, down our row unit, where we go through another splitter valve because we're doing 2x2x2, so it's on both sides of the row. And so we can eliminate basically all of the plumbing going back to the center and out by putting the flow monitoring right after these valves. So we can come out of here, put some kind of flow monitor thing, and then right down to the row unit. Cleans up my boom a lot. We'll have more electronic stuff, less actual fertilizer tubes. Anyway, so we're looking for the right system to do that. I've kind of got it narrowed down to a couple. Now, the distribution side of it on the in-furrow is, or the metering and monitoring system is good. So these valves here are actually part of this boom. Why they got put there, I don't know, but it's fine. But this block here is what we use for the in-furrow. It's John Deere's exact rate system. It works really good. The issue with that system is we come out, here, down this hose, and it goes down through the middle, and then it turns into this hose, And well, all we had was like a drop tube on there. Let's see, are the ones still in the back? They might still be over here. Yeah, right here. So we have this little drop tube thing, and I don't like it. It splashes fertilizer all over my closing wheels. Does really not a good job of putting it on there. So we're going to change those out. We've already taken it off these first 8 rows because I had some super top secret parts from John Deere last year that we were on there that I'm not going to tell you about because I can't. Same thing on the other side. They were a different one. But I knew we weren't running those again, so we took them off when we were cleaning the planter up. And now we've just got this hose hanging out here, and we've got to fix that. So I have something to do that. So back at the farm show in September in Ohio Farm Science Review, I found this company selling these. These are called a Flow-Right seed firmer, and they're going to mount and underneath between our closing wheels and the gauge wheels, the seed openers there. And essentially this part is going to run in the furrow, firm the seed into the bottom of the furrow. And then what I really liked about these is they have this fertilizer tube molded right into it. Comes out at the back here. That's controlled. That's going to drop the fertilizer exactly where we want it. That is a really good thing. So they've got some brackets here, some bolts. I don't know. We got to figure out how to do this. But yeah, essentially we've got to get these installed and on the planter. And that's going to be our in-furrow fertilizer distribution system, the delivery method that I think will work much better than what we have had in the past. I gotta figure out how these work. There we go. There's the brackets that I was looking for. So this bracket is gonna bolt up underneath here in there somehow. And then the rest of that stuff attaches to these. So there's a few things that I really like about these. We'll see if in practice it's as good as in theory. But so they have this white part on here. That's a removable wear insert. Like you can replace that. And it kind of says you got this gauge here. Once it gets down to like 1/8 of an inch from this place here is when you replace it. So you know when they're wore out. So that's super nice. Like I said, it's got the fertilizer tube molded into it. And this is the nozzle here, but they also come with these inserts where they have like a splitter. Can you see that? There's 2 holes in that, so you can kind of put 2 jets just to the side of the seed instead of right on top of it if you want. I don't know if we should run those or not. I might. I'm probably going to think about that. But anyway, yeah, I like the looks of this quite a bit. So somehow or another, this is going to bolt on here, and then the firmer attaches into that. And then that screw can be used to tension it, and it looks like a good system. We'll see. There were a few other options that I could have used. One of them was like the Keatons, the precision planting stuff that we've used. We've got them on our bean planter. I like those. The problem I had with those is that on an exact emerge planter, you have to extend this closing wheel bracket back. Like they have their own piece that kind of fits in here. And it makes the distance between the gauge wheels, the openers, and the closing wheels a lot higher, more, greater, longer. And I don't like that. These firmers, I don't have to do that. So that's why we're sticking with these. Grayson's setting our closing wheel pressure for us. It's hard, isn't it? Oh! Ooh. Close. Anyway, just kind of looking over the planter, seeing what else needs attention we need to look at. Obviously, we got to go through and check a lot of stuff. But one of the things that I was interested in checking out really thoroughly is our conceal knives here. I think these have quite a bit of wear on them, and I would like to get a new one to compare to. We had some issues getting the holes plugged up on these last year, and after I started looking at them, I'm like, well, crap, the hole's worn way back. That's why they're plugging up. And so I just texted my buddy that sells this stuff to see if he has any on hand or if I should order some or he can get them for me or whatever. But I want to get a new pair or whatever to compare them to. But we might have to replace all those conceal knives, which, I mean, I've run it 2 years. Some of them were original from 3 years, the year before we bought the planter. And so, yeah, it's not unexpected to have to replace a wear part. on that conceal system. Like, I was a little bit nervous when we bought this planter because there were like 8 of them that were broken when we got it, and we put new on that first year. And I thought, oh crap, we're gonna have trouble with these. But like, they would break up here or break the tip off. I think I've broken 1 since we replaced all of them and had a good set on the first time we went to the field. I think there's been 1 that we've had issues with. And so yeah, those have worked really well. In fact, they've lasted long enough to wear them out, I think. So anyway, and then we'll take a pair of openers off. We'll measure those, but these were new last year. Wear parts openers that you can still see the bevel on them. So I think they're in pretty decent shape yet. We'll check all our bearings and stuff. I don't think our row cleaners are any issue really. And our closing wheels should all be in good shape. We did have to steal this one off of the bean planter because we broke one of these last year. And so we need to get a new one, put this one back on the bean planter, get a new one to put on here. We do have, okay, all right, take that off. These bushings in here still. Those are the original from Deere. There's much better systems out there than those bushings. That's got a little bit of play in it. It's not terrible. I have the opinion that if you're gonna put better parts on a planter and upgrade things like these, which that one there that we took off the bean planter's got it, right? So that's a RK kit closing wheel that's got a bearing in there. Those work awesome. Really, really like those on the bean planter. I'll put them on the corn planter. However, when these parts are still good, we might as well at least wear them out, right? Like, there's no reason to take good parts off just to put better parts on. So I've made the decision to run them until they're wore out. I don't know if this is considered wore out. It's getting close. Same thing with the gauge wheel arms. Like, there's much better systems than the John Deere version here. 3 or 4 different companies that make stuff, including RK kits, Copperhead. We've used them on the bean planter. They work really good. Is there a touch of play in this? A touch, but not a lot. So until that system is wore out, I really have no reason to go through and spend a bunch of money and update the whole planter, my opinion. But anyway, those are the things we're looking at. I think I'm going to tear this row apart here. I should go over to that side, really, because that side's all up. I can't believe this. I only have 1 wing wheel stop. That's what happened. Let me show you. So whoever owned this planter before us decided to keep one of these little orange wheel stops here, cylinder stops. Oh, it's not even on that one. Gosh dang it. Anyway, I don't have one for the other side, and I thought it was this side that was settled really bad last year and was on the ground, and it probably will over time. But so I had Brock put that stop in over here, and then that side settled on me. So I need to buy another stop is what I need to do so that we don't have this problem. But it is what it is. It's fine. I did put them in on the back, but the back ones are different than the wings, so you can't just take these and put them over there because this one's not even close to the stop. So anyway, of course, then the other thing we have to do is go through our meters. We're going to take these all off, clean them up. They're clean-ish. They're not terrible. We washed them out last summer, but we'll take every row apart, pull the meter off, pull all the pieces out. Got a few kernels of seed in there yet. Try and wash a lot of that seed treatment residue off and just clean everything up, inspect it, make sure nothing's broken or cracked or whatever. All these pieces are good and adjusted right. We'll check out our brushes and just inspect everything. That's the majority of what we do here, is going through and cleaning and just making sure that everything is in good shape. I called my buddy. He's got a couple of those conceal knives, so I'm going to run over there, grab them from him. Boys out of the office. They're not watching the computer all day. That stuff. All right, I got back, and I went ahead and pulled one of these conceal knives off. So here's that. Here's the used one here, and I mean, it looks okay for the most part until you start looking at this end of it, and you see how that hole is kind of on a angle there. So here is the new one, and there's definitely a difference there. Now, I want to say that's not horribly significant, but I was having a fair bit of trouble with these holes getting plugged up last year. And I think it's because of how that angle is and how they're worn. Yeah. I think we're going to replace these. They must run sort of tip down a little bit. Kind of like that. And it just kind of has worn into it. So anyway, that's what we got. Turns out that Precision actually has two different versions of this. There's a standard and then there's a high wear. This is the high wear one. This is a standard one. I assume we had standard ones before. I didn't know there was a high wear or two different versions. And so I don't know that I ever would have gotten those, but we'll probably put mostly high wear ones back on if that's what they have. We might as well use them because we're clearly wearing them out more so than breaking them. So might as well put the high wear ones on. Okay, we're going to go ahead and sort of disassemble this row unit here. We're going to take closing wheels off. I'll look at the openers. Probably don't need to take all the openers off, but I might take one of them or a couple of them off just to measure and see where we're at with stuff. We'll get the meter off, get the brush belt out. We've got to take those conceal knives off, and you gotta fold those arms down. So those conceal knives, right? We run this split gauge wheel. They fit up in between there, but you gotta fold them down to get the gauge wheels off. So you gotta pull this pin, drop that down like I did on this one up over here. And that gets it out of the way so the gauge wheels will come off. So we'll start here. It's gonna drop if I don't hold that. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, let's pull the meter off. Let's do that. Here, let me find. Can you guys hang out over here? There, you guys watch there. All right, so we got to pull vacuum hose, seed delivery hose, undo the latch, and this comes off. Just gonna set it out of the way. And then we're gonna go ahead and take this cover off. Looks like we need to do a little washing under here. The brush belt comes out. Out. You got to disconnect the seed sensor. And this comes out. This will also need to get taken apart and cleaned up. All right, so now we can look at the rest of this stuff. We got some dirt in there, dusty under here. Yeah, we'll wash it up a little bit while it's in the shop here. Pull the gauge wheel off the other side. Oh, gonna do that conceal. I just talked about it. Okay. That one was tight. All right, so now this piece here, can you see that? Nope, you guys can't see that. This piece here is what we're going to take off and put those firmers on in place of, where this just kind of holds the fertilizer tube in place. I'm going to put a seed firmer on there. Actually get it down into the rows. So we'll go ahead here and pop off one of these seed discs. These are wear parts openers that we put on a year ago. Let's see. Pretty sure this one's left-handed thread. Yeah. Left-handed threads on the one side. Don't screw that up. Come on. Okay. They look fine. I mean, there is a little bit of wear on them, but I don't think it's excessive. These are all our shims and spacers to keep them gapped right. This is our seed tube guard. That all looks okay. Got some wear inserts or whatever you want to call it on the side there, high wear stuff. So those are in pretty good shape. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take this off, and we're gonna get one of those seed farmers and just try and see how it fits up in there. See if we can figure that out. I grabbed a tape measure. These blades start at 15 inches new. Recommendation is to replace them when they get to 14 and a half or 14 and a quarter. I would say we're pretty good shape, 15. So yeah, I thought they looked fine. I thought they would be. Yeah, so, okay. We got to figure out how that thing comes off and how the new one goes on. I got to see what size bolts we got. And, yeah, essentially there's this cast piece right here that bolts to the row shank. We got to take those bolts out, put our bracket in place of this bracket, and then put the bolts back in. So it's going to look the same as this, but we're going to have something else bolted to the bottom of it. Question is, do we need new bolts that are longer? I doubt it, because we're taking a different bracket off, but you never know. Well, they're going to go something like that. So this bracket mounts up there. That's not too hard to do. The hardest part is supporting all that weight while you're trying to slide that in there without taking the bolts completely out. But we got it. And then this black plastic piece bolts to that, and that's where it says to start it, but it is adjustable. You can move it up and down, and then the seed firmer fits in the bottom there. And we'll have to tighten this screw in to keep it from doing that and falling out. Now, there is the hose barb on here. It needs a 3/16 inch diameter hose. The hoses that we have on here are not 3/16. They're 1/8 inch. So that does not fit on there. I have some 3/16 hose, so we can put that on there. I put a little piece on it and cut it off because I wasn't ready to put it on. We'll just cut that to put the right piece on. But problem is, my connectors up here aren't big enough. So we're gonna have to take these out and get a different one with a hose barb for this 1/4 inch ID soft hose to go to 1/4 inch OD push connect. Yeah. Someday they're gonna hurt themselves. Is that better than letting them sit on the computer all day? I'm not sure. Ay. I was looking at this like, man, that hose is really going to bend off to the side there. But they've got a channel mount bolted into this. Goes right up from the bottom, up through there. And then we'll have to figure out whether it's best to just come right down the side, or what we had been doing is going down through this hole. Probably do that and zip tie it around there. Keep it out of the way of the openers. And the gauge wheels. Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, slowly we're getting a plan together on how we're going to tackle this. Well, that changes the look in a hurry. I went through, pulled the meters, the covers, the brush belts, pulled the conceal knives down, and took the gauge wheels off. I'm going to go through and take all those precision, or the actual knives off the conceal stuff there, the old ones. There's a few that we've got some more major-ish problems with. Where was that one? Right there. That one looks like it broke. And there's one down here that chipped. This one. Some of the hard surfacing stuff chipped off, and it's wearing through there pretty bad. Some of them don't look real bad. Some of them look quite worn. I don't know. It's sort of hard for me to tell without looking at them compared to a new one and how they're wearing and stuff. So if there are some good ones on there, we'll either leave them on or put them on the shelf for good spares. But yeah, we're going to work on this wing of this planter first. It's a little dirty up in here, stuff around this meter. There's a lot of dust and stuff in there. I don't think we took those covers off when we were washing it last summer. So I might get the power washer hose over here and just kind of real light pressure with all the electronics and stuff in there. Just rinse them down to get the dirt out of there, make it a little easier to work on stuff and clean it up some. But we aren't going to be aggressive by any means. I do have one knife over here that I can't get the pin out of. It's rusted up pretty good, and it's by a tire, so I can't get in there with a hammer to pound on it. So we're gonna have to figure out what to do there. I'm gonna get some penetrating oil or something and spray it on it, let it sit tonight. and we'll worry about it tomorrow. But yeah, that one's just not going to be real fun. Well, this is all we're really doing here, just kind of a light pressure from a distance, well targeted. I know some people wouldn't even do this around those electric motors and boxes and stuff, but in my opinion, it's not much more than a heavy rain, so well targeted, it'll be fine, and it gets a lot of dirt off. I don't like working in dirt, cleaning stuff up. So, I got this side done. We're just going to do this kind of one side at a time, and yeah, it's helpful. Okay, everybody, thanks for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. We didn't make a ton of progress as far as physical work to the planter, but we did get a lot done because I got a system ordered for our monitoring stuff. I got conceal knives ordered. I got the connectors that I need to get the new seed firmers tied into the fertilizer system. So we figured out what we need to do and got a lot of stuff coming for this. And like I said, it's going to be here for 2 or 3 weeks anyway. Not a big deal. So anyway, that is working. I am heading home for tonight. We will be back tomorrow. Potentially work a little bit more on the planter, or I really need to get my seed treater out. Of course, I ordered some stuff for that too that won't be here until Monday. So maybe that's a next week project. Anyway, we'll find something to do. Have a great night. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And we'll see you in the morning.